foiling with the Cricut Joy? I'll let you know right now.
Hey there, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So can you foil with the Cricut Joy? The Cricut Foil Transfer Kit is not designed to work in the Cricut Joy. It'll work in the Explorer machines and the Maker Joy. However, there is an Etsy vendor who has created this little guy. And this is plastic with a magnet in the bottom. And so what it does is it fits in the Joy housing here. So I take out the blade. This will fit right in here, like so. You press it all the way down to the top of the white. And then like this housing, you just slip these nibs, or whatever we're calling them, into this little piece, and they stay in place. And then similarly you just fit that in, lock it down, and the Joy will transfer foil, much like it does with the Maker or the Explorer. There are some limitations with this guy and the Joy. The vendor does say that you should not use the bold tip. For whatever reason, the bold tip does not work with this. I have used both the fine and the medium, and they work just fine. With the adapter and the foil tips, you have to set everything to cut. My suspicion is, because I tried it, is that this machine, it has a limited amount of pressure that it can exert. Unlike the Maker, or the Explorer machines that are a lot heavier duty. So when you draw with this machine, it's not exerting enough pressure with the tip of the pen, say, to actually transfer foil as a draw setting. So you can see here, for example, this would be an example of where I tried to draw with it. And some of it is okay, but a lot of it is not. And the outside edge of the egg is actually the cut line. So you can see how much clearer that is than the majority of these like foliage designs on the inside. So you have to pick anything you're going to do with the foil transfer tool, foil adapter, and the transfer tool in the Joy. You're going to have to set to a cut design. So that's something to consider when you're picking the type of design you want to make with this. Alright, so now we've kind of covered the little adapter, and I will link this in the video description below and in the supply list on my blog, so you can get a hold of this. It's very reasonably priced. However, I would say the warranty from Cricut is really, really vague. So it's quite possible that using this in your machine may void the warranty. So bear that in mind. Now let's go look at Design Space and set up a design to foil. Okay, so I'm in Cricut Design Space, and I have opened up the Projects tab here on the left-hand toolbar. And I've done a search for Easter, just to bring up some spring Easter ideas, since that is the time of year that I'm posting this video. And as I mentioned, you have to pick files that are cut files as opposed to drawing files. So for example, like this card that has parts where it's drawn and then parts where it's cut won't work, because you don't have a way to customize this particular project. You can only make it. If you could customize it and then change those drawing lines to cut lines, you could use it. But anything where you have to draw things, it's not going to work. Although you could draw them with a pen for sure if you wanted to. But that's something to just keep in mind. Now, since you're going to have basically like the outline, whatever you're seeing as being cut, like the dark pink here has been cut out of this card, that's going to be an outline
in foil of that design. You're not going to see the dark pink. It's just going to be that same top color, but with the outline, but the design is all outlined in foil in our scenario. So that's what you need to think of. And I would suggest doing something that's probably a little more interesting than, say, something like this, where it's just a bunny outline that's pretty simple. And given that the foiling takes a little bit of extra time, you probably want to do something that's a little more fancy than just a bunny, although very cute. So I was thinking that this card was pretty cute, and especially because there's a lot of sort of small details, but they're not too small, that would look good foiled on a card. So I'm going to just hit make it for this. Now I did have my machine set to the Joy during that search, and it's set to the Joy now. So the software is defaulting to the card mat because this is technically an insert card, which are designed to be made with that card mat. However, I am going to change that. So I'm going to go over here and click on just on mat, and I will get a warning that says the current layout is optimized for the project. Changing settings is not recommended. Are you sure you want to proceed? And I'm going to say yes, because I want to move this down. If you have used the foil transfer tool for like another machine, say like the Maker or the Explorer, you know that the foil needs to cover the entire design area, and it also, you have to be able to tape it on top of the cardstock or whatever you're foiling wide enough that you have some space around where the design is going to go. Now this card is 4 1/4 wide, and the foil sheets that I have are 4 by 6. So these corners aren't going to come out correctly. They'll sort of come out, but they're not, the foil sheet itself isn't wide enough to accommodate both sides. So we're really just concentrating on the parts in the middle. There's no way to change this, so we have to leave it as is. But by bumping it down a little bit, and I think I'm going to make it so that it's about in the middle and have the bottom line lined up on the 6-inch mark, that's going to tell me how to position my paper and how to position the foil so that I know I get this entire design done with the foiling. So I'm just going to hit continue, and it's asking me to set the base material. Now I'm going to browse all materials. I have found that the foiling adapter works best with materials where the pressure is fairly high, like 250 or above. So you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, down here on the bottom of this materials list is something called, is this materials settings link. So I'll click on that, and it's going to show you the cut pressure on all of the materials that are listed. So generally speaking, I have found that things that are 250 pressure and above work the best. 226 is probably okay too. So I'm going to go with deluxe paper foil embossed, because that's 257. So deluxe paper foil embossed is what I'm going to pick. You could also create your own material if you wanted to by doing an add new material down here, but I'm not going to show you how to do that today because I think we can just go with the options that are available. So if I go back into browse all materials and scroll down to paper, I'm going to choose deluxe paper foil embossed and hit done. So I'm going to leave pressure on default, and then it's asking me to load the fine point blade, but we're not going to load the fine point blade. We're going to load the foil adapter with the medium tip, and then we're going to load the mat into the machine, but I'm going to put the foil on the machine, or on the mat first. So let's go over to the machine. All right, I've got a standard grip mat here, and I'm going to just put a piece of white Gina K cardstock on this, and as you recall from the software, I lined the design up with the 6 on the mat, so I'm going to try to do the same thing.
Then I have a piece of rose gold foil. Now these sheets come in 4x6. I have trimmed it down to about 4x5 1/4. You want to avoid getting the foil on the mat because, as you can see here, it will stick. So you got to be careful. And now this is how I kind of store my those tape strips that come with the foil. These are ones I've used in the past, so I'm just going to reuse it. So on the one side, I'm going to try to grab the edge of the foil with the tape and tape it down. You do want to get like at least a bit, you know, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch of the foil with the tape, because the pressure from the blade can pull it out from under the tape, so just be careful of that. So I stretched it, so I grabbed the foil with the tape and then pulled it and then pressed it down to get it as flat as I can get it. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the sides. Okay, so it looks pretty good. And now I'm just going to load it into the machine. Now my foil adapter, the foil adapter is in place, and I'm using the medium tip blade. So back over in the software, it sees that I've loaded the mat, and I'm going to click go. Sort of see how the foil has been pressed down there. Let me unload the mat. Let's see what we got. Okay, now I say we put the card together. So fun fact, foil is resistant to alcohol markers, so I'm going to color this with my Spectrum Noir markers in very pale colors, because I don't really want to compete too much with that rose gold. I'm just going to highlight some sections because, you know, it's a little tough to see, and give it a little more of an Easter feel. So there's the finished card. It's a little tricky to see just because of the lighting on the foil. I layered it with a piece of fun foam under the front piece that I trimmed way down. Then I used the dotted scallop rectangles dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs to die cut this piece of pink, which is Concord and Ninth's Ballet slipper cardstock. And then the green is Lawn Fawn Shimmer cardstock from their Pastels or Spring pack. And then the white is Gina K. So, you know, fairly simple, not too fancy, but I think the foil adds a little bit of extra bling to that. And I think it's pretty cool that you can make a foiled card now with the Cricut Joy. Hope you guys are as excited about that as I am. Here's a nice close-up look at that foiled effect. I am so excited I can do that with the Joy now, and I hope you guys are too. If you got something out of the video, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing to my channel. Here's another Cricut Joy video you might be interested in, as well as my Cricut playlist. Thanks so much. Have a great day.